Shalom, shalom. This is the brother Amawan coming to you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. First and foremost, I want to give all the praises, the honor, and the glory to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, Hashem Kakwadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the brothers out there that's doing this work. And I would also like to thank Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai for opening up our eyes to the truth, man. Right? Allowing us to know who we are in truth and no longer believe in the lies of the devil, what the Bible speaks of, which is Esau, which is the so-called white man, all right, the so-called Caucasian race. They are the devil, all right? Now, just to make a slight point on that, that is not to say that everyone that looks like a Caucasian is a Caucasian, all right? Just like that not everybody that looks like a so-called Negro is a so-called Negro or an Israelite, all right? That has to be said for truth's sake. But I came across this video, part 1 of 100 proofs the Israelites were white. Now, I don't understand. I've watched this video, and I'm not going to play it. I just wanted to have it up here just to show you, for any of you that want to watch it out there, all right, and you can see what this devil's got to say. But this person is convinced. And also the people in the comments are 100% convinced that they are the Israelites that the Bible speaks of, man. And they're convinced because that's Esau all over. He's an identity thief. Right? All he does, he's everyone but Esau. All right? Because Esau is the end of the world. And Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth, man. He's the wicked that Job 9:24 speaks of, man. So, through the spirit, they think that trying to change their identities throughout history is going to absolve them from justice, man, from what's to come, which is their destruction, So I'm going to try my best to show you through the scriptures that the Israelites are indeed dark-skinned people, man. And it's not hard to do that. So, these devils, it just goes to show you that they're not given the understanding, man. All right? They're just here to do their job, and that's to be the wicked. All right, so let's jump right in. And I'm going to really start here just to make an easy point, all right? Just to start off with an old favorite, this one used to come out, back in the day when I first came into the truth and joined the camp. And, we was out there cursing out Esau, and there was always, Jakes and Edomites coming up trying to disprove what we were saying, man. And we'd always jump to this one. All right. So this is Jeremiah 14:2, and it says, Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish, they are black unto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. All right. So, as what we do, we like to go into the words, man. All right. This person is claiming that Caucasians dispersed into Europe, right, are the real Israelites, descendant from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? And I'm going to go into, color scriptures to show you. But what they fail to realize is that they've been lied to through their history. And this is another lesson, all right? But the Europeans, from around about the 1300s up until like the early to mid 1800s, were so-called dark-skinned people, man. And there's plenty of proof out there, which I'm going to try and do lessons on as well. I have some literature to get into to actually bring that out. But there's a good brother on YouTube. I believe his name is his channel's KMZ or KMZ History, however you like to say it. And he breaks down the European history of our people, man. Excellently, I might add. All right. So, check that brother's YouTube channel out, man. It's excellent. and also uplifting, because it shows you the, you know, the legacy that our people had, you know, the nobility that we had. Also, we obviously know that we did some wicked things, but it shows you that basically everything that Esau has said is a lie. Anyway, back into this. So Judah mourneth, and the gates of language, they are black unto the ground, and the cry out of Jerusalem is going up. That's Jeremiah 14:2. So let's get that word black right. This is one of the earliest things that we were taught, well, I was taught, right? So here we go. So we hear it.
Strong's H, 6937. Kader. Kader.
Okay. So it says to be dark, right? But there is another translation of that word, okay? Because we have to get the word kadar, right? Hold on 1 second. So let me just get, where is it? Solomon, right? Songs of Solomon, right? Songs of Solomon. Right. This is a better, because as much as you would like to, you cannot always rely on the blue letter. It does go off. All right, so it says, Songs of Solomon 1 and 5, it says, I am black but comely, O ye daughters of Jerusalem. And now, you know, we just read in Jeremiah, and it did say dark, right? But I want to get a better description. It says, I am black but comely, O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon, right? Look not upon me, because I am black, because the sun have looked upon me. My mother's children were angry with me. They made me the keeper of the vineyards, but mine own vineyard I have not kept. Anyway, let's just stick to verse 5. So Kedar here is a simple, dark, right? Dark. It says, down here it says dusky, of the skin or the tent. You right? So yeah, Solomon's telling you he's dark skinned. So that was just wanted to bring those two out quickly. I wanted to get back into more kind of scriptures, but also I just want to talk about Esau for a bit, man. So let's go to the beginning, man. Slovakia, right? So I'll start from 19. It says, and these, I might have to do this in 2 parts, or maybe more. It says, and these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begat Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padanaram, the sister to Laban the Syrian. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren. And the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived, and the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. And just on a side note, right, because we're going to get into the fact that Esau was different from everybody else, all right? He was red all over, okay? We're going to get to that. But just going back to that video, in the comments, someone was scoffing at the fact that we believe that Esau is so-called white and Jacob is so-called black in the same womb. And what these silly devils don't seem to understand is that Jacob is the form of all things, and we can do that. There's plenty of proof out there in the world of Negro men that have had children with so-called Negro men having children with so-called Negro women, i.e. Israelites, and that have produced 2 babies, one red and one brown. So we can do that. These devils can't do that. Right? Edom can't do that. All right. Only we can do that. It might be unbelievable to them because they don't have that capability. And ultimately, the Lord can make anything what he wants to happen. And that's just the bottom line, really, if you want to just take it down to the low levels. So verse 22, it says, and the children struggled together within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations, right, are in thy womb. Right, 2 nations are in thy womb. So these are the scriptures that, they're scoffing at the fact that we believe that. But they can't understand the simplicity of the fact that the Lord has said 2 nations in thy womb and 2 manner of people. Right, let's get into these words a little bit, right? All right, so let's get the word nations here. Right, so it says nation, people. So let me get the
Strong's H 1471. Goy. Goy.
It says usually of non-Hebrew people. So that's talking about, that's once again, it's kind of going off there because that's talking about so-called heathens or Gentiles, man, not of the nation of Israel, right? But also it says of descendants of Abraham, of Israel. So it's telling you there in the description that there are 2 nations, man, because it talks of the non-Hebrews and the descendants of Abraham are in the womb at the same time. So let's just skip back a minute. And I wanted to get let's get the word manna, right? So
Strong's H 3816. Leom. Leom.
so once again, it's almost a repetition. So it says a people and a nation. So 2 nations, 2 nationalities are in the womb. All right. So it says 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 men of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. That's future prophecy. The last piece is future prophecy, man, because these Edomites are going to have to serve the Israelites, man, when Yahweh comes back and sets everything in order. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb, and the first came out red all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. Okay, came out red all over, man. Now we're not red, we're brown. Right? There's only one race of people on this earth that go red or are red. So I've seen them. I've seen Edomites that are just always red. Red, actually red, right? But they're different shades, man. Lighter, pink. Pink is a derivative of red, anyway. Right. So let's get into let's get into the word, the name Esau. In fact, let's get into the word red first. Now, this is where it's going on.
Strong's H 132. Admoni. Admoni.
Actually, I'm going to look into the word ruddy, but I want to stick to this. I want to stick to this for a minute, and if the spirit takes me down, I want to get into that word ruddy. All right. But let's get that name Esau.
Strong's H 6215. Esav. Esav.
Now you see, this is the problem. See, now it says Esau means equals hairy, and that's not the truth, man. All right, that is not the truth. I need to see if I can find it somewhere else. Let me think. I need to find it. I don't want to just speak on it, but I will speak on it slightly but we'll have to try and get some evidence on that, because it's all about proving all things, man. But the name Esau in the Hebrew is Ashashua, man. right? And it means, wasted away is he, all right? Because of the fact that of the translucent skin, all right? But I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's just read a little bit more. It says, and after that, verse 26, and after that came out his brother and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 60 years old when she bare them. And the boys grew, and here's some more evidence of the difference of these two nations and who they are today. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, right? There's only one type of man out there on the earth that does all that, man, who likes to crawl around in the forests, painting his face, shooting the animals, and sleeping under the stars, right? We're not like that, man. We like to be in the crib, man. Right, as we like to say. We like to chill in the crib. It says, and Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents, and for the purposes of edification. Let's get this word plain, all right? See what it says there? Perfect, complete. One who lacks nothing in physical strength, beauty, etc. Right? Sound, wholesome, an ordinary, quiet sort of person, complete, morally innocent, having integrity, one who is morally and ethically pure. And we are the stronger people, man, than these Edomites, okay? If they went through the things that our people have been through, they would have died out a long time ago, man, because they're not made for that, all right? They are not made for it. They're not made to. That's why they have to be blessed by the Lord, man. The only way they could have power over us is the blessing that the Lord has given them over the earth. All right. And I'm just going to jump down to verse 13. It said, Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore his name was called Edom. Right, so let's get into the name Edom. Right.
Strong's H 123. Edom. Edom.
Right. Edom means red. Idumean in the Greek, and it's descendants of Esau, man. All right. It tells you, it's describing what they look like, and they are red. There's only one people on the earth that are like that, and it's these so-called Caucasians, man. But they're trying to run from their fate. All right. The scriptures call them, I believe it's vagabonds on the earth, man. And that's because they're descendants of Cain, man. All right. They're descendants of Cain, and they bear the mark of Cain. So let's get back onto that kind of established that Esau, Edom is red, all right? So let's get back onto Jacob, man. All right. So although they try to deny it, and I was actually watching some information about the Sudanese, man. There is a natural history museum in Sudan, and it talks about the the Egyptian kings, man, that they had when they were actually ruling in Egypt, because they are the original Egyptians, not those people you see there today, those Arabs in the land. All right, the original Egyptians are the Sudanese, dark-skinned, sometimes quite tall people. All right, they are the original Egyptians. Okay, that's factual. So let's get into the scriptures on that. So this is going into Moses, man, being being put amongst the bulrushes, man. All right, and being taken into the Pharaoh's house, man. So like right, okay, right. I started at 11. So Exodus 2 and 11, right? It says, and it came to pass in those days when Moses was grown, this is in the house of Pharaoh, right? That he went out unto his brethren and looked on their burdens, right? He spied an Egyptian smiting a Hebrew, one of his brethren. So it's establishing the fact that Moses is not an Egyptian, but a Hebrew, okay? A Levite. And it says, and he looked this way and that way to check that to see that no one was watching. And when he saw that there was no man, he slew the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. And when he went out the second day, behold, two men of the Hebrews strove together and said to him that did the wrong, wherefore smitest thou thy fellow? And he said, who made thee a prince and judge over us? Intendest thou to kill me as thou killedst the Egyptian? And Moses feared and said, surely this thing is known. So he's worried that he's being found out, right? Now when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses, but Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian, and he sat down by a well. Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water and filled the troughs to water their father's flock. And the shepherds came and drove them away, but Moses stood up and helped them and watered their flock. And when they came to Reuel, their father, he said, how is it that ye are come so soon today? And they said, an Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds, and also drew water enough for us, and watered the flock. So there you have it. In that verse alone, they have mistaken Moses, who he already knows that he is an Israelite. He's been mistaken for an Egyptian. Why? Because both are dark-skinned people. All right. Now these were like what we call milk scriptures, man. These are the ones that just show you the way. They show you the difference between, Jacob and Esau, and also Jacob and the other dark-skinned nations, man. All right. Where is it? I'm just trying to think. Okay, let's get this one actually. This is good. Let's go to the New Testament, right? I know I'm jumping around a bit, but this is all to just prove a point. And this is a great one. This is a great one, right? Now they were in the church. This is Acts 13 and 1 selected. Now they were in the church that was at Antioch, certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas and Simeon, that was called Niger, and Lucius of Cyrene, and Manaen, which had been brought up with Herod, the tetrarch, and Saul. All right, so let's get into that, right? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to jump straight to that word, man.
Strong's G 3526. Niger. Niger.
And you see how that's really said? See the derivative that Esau calls our people? That's that word, man. He uses it in derision. But what he doesn't really realize is he's calling us what we are. And let me just Check it in the etymology, man. Let's see if we get anything more. Or maybe not. Oh no, here we are. So like African, it says it here. African nation named for the river Niger, mentioned by that name. 1520s Leo Africanus, right? For all those that don't believe why that place is called Africa, man, right? Because we know it's Ham, right? Ham, right? Or Ham, spelled Ham, right? The Hamites, man. This is probably an alteration by influence of Latin Niger or Niger, black, all right? So, basically, Esau's talking about out of his ass as usual, man. He wants to be everybody, all right? In that video as well, it talks about how they've created great nations and now they've created a great civilizations all over the earth, not realizing that goes against the scriptures, man. The scriptures talk about in Deuteronomy 28 how that will be scattered amongst all nations and will be a derision amongst all nations. We'll be called proverbs and bywords. We would not be able to build anything in this world, man, until we repented and Yahweh Shai came back to redeem us, man. All right. That's the only way we're going to be in that position. The scriptures don't talk about us ruling in these last days, man. Right, the scriptures tell you the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, right? Job 9 and 24. Who's ruling the earth today? Predominantly. You might have one or two so-called black billionaires out there. That doesn't mean anything. Those 2, 3 that are out there do not make the generalization. All right? They're not the common denominator in these stories. So it tells you right here, man, that these prophets and teachers, man, and the only prophets that the Bible speaks of are prophets of Israel, who are Israelites, man, are Nigirs, man, all right? Black, so-called black men. Esau's way out of pocket for this one, man. And I'm just, like most of us, I'm sick of these people, man. Sick of their lies, sick of their pride, sick of their pride, man, to think that the Lord is dealing with them. There's a reason why it says in Genesis 2 and 7 that Adam was formed from the ground, man, because the ground is brown. All right, it's brown. Like the Lord. So you're telling me that the Lord created, used the powers of heaven to create all this, the heavens and the earth, the sun, the moon, the stars. Yet the sun, which gives life, brings life to the earth, the plants, the animals, all creatures. Yet Esau can't even go out in it without putting some cream on. Are you serious? And he thinks that he's the chosen? Let's get the one about Yahweh Shai. I'm going to close out on that one, but I'm going to continue on. I'm not done with this yet. Right, this is going to be a part 1. And I'm going to continue on just to expose more of this bullshit that Esau's talking about, how he's the true Israelites, man. He's insane, man. Right, Revelation 1 and 1, it says the revelation of Yahweh Shai, as we call him, not Yahusha or all these other names, Yeshua, that they want to call him, because that's what they're calling him, man. They don't even know the Lord's name, man. They don't even know our Lord and Savior's name. They're not imparted to this truth, man. If they were the Israelites, right, according to scripture, man, and prophecy, they would be out teaching on the street corners like we are, that they are the Israelites. They're not doing that because the Spirit ain't on them to do that, man. The revelation of Yahweh Shai Mashiach, which Yahweh gave unto him to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass, and he sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant John. So let's jump down. Verse 13 says, and in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, girt about the paps with a golden girdle. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow. It says his head and his hairs, man. It's not talking about his face. Or as it would say his face. It's talking about the hair on his head and the hair on his face were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. And what these demons don't seem to understand is the Lord has put this word he's inspired the prophets to put these words in the scriptures for us to cleave unto the truth and to understand who we are according to the scriptures, man. It doesn't, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what Esau thinks, man. Right? He's done out here. His time is nearly at hand. Right? It says his feet like unto fine brass. Hair like wool, man. Doesn't take a genius. Esau's hair's not like that. And they don't even depict who they think is their savior. Cesare Borgia, Jesus Christ. They don't even depict him like that, man. They depict him with long, stringy hair, blue eyes, and effeminate. All right? So look, I'm going to close out on that one, and I'm going to get a part 2. Lord willing, this part was edifying. I'll give all praises on the glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Kakodash. And I'll say shalom to part 2. Shalom.